How's it going, guys? Welcome back again for some more Tales from Timor. So this week was a major cultural festival for the Timorese people here in Maliana. It was a festival celebrating the reconciliation between Indonesia and Timor. A little brief history. So within a few days of Timor-Leste declaring its independence from Portugal, Indonesia decided to march troops over the border and occupy Timor-Leste, which didn't sit very well with the Timorese people because they had just declared independence, so they didn't want to be taken over by another country. And this led to a 2.5-decade-long struggle in which guerrilla forces in Timor-Leste would fight against the occupying Indonesian army. Needless to say, this wasn't a bright spot in Timor-Leste's history. However, in 1999, Timor-Leste was able to declare its independence from Indonesia, and the past 2.5 decades have been spent by Timor-Leste attempting to bury the hatchet between them and Indonesia. And that's what this festival was all about. This festival was all about bringing together the two cultures of Indonesia and Timor-Leste and celebrating them together in an attempt to symbolize reconciliation between the two countries. So there was a lot of speeches, there was a lot of dancing, and there was a lot of music. And one of the most interesting things about this festival was that I was one of, if not the only, white person there. I got to see a culture celebrate itself with the people who are living in that culture. This was a rare opportunity for me to see a culture celebrate itself and not just put on a performance for tourists. See, oftentimes, whenever tourists visit another country, they get the chance to experience these types of celebrations. However, many times at these dances, the people who are in the audience are other white people. Consequently, these tourists don't understand the significance of these types of expression. Oftentimes, tourists just walk away from it thinking, well, that was fun. They never understand the fact that this is significant because it is a culture expressing itself. And being able to culturally express itself is something that's very new to Timor-Leste. Because as I've explained before, this place has been under Portuguese colonization for 400 years and then under Indonesian occupation for another 25. This country is astonishingly young, yet its cultural roots run way back. And it was really cool to see a country express itself because for a long time they never got the chance to. And it was in these performances that we saw the voices of the past and the voices of the present come together to answer one collective question. What is Timor-Leste? There is a quote that I find myself saying a lot, especially when I see some old person admonishing the youth culture. The young want to tell their stories, but the old don't want to see their stories forgotten. Because older people have already lived their lives. They've contributed to this giant book that we call the history of the world. And young people are in the process of making their own stories. And being a young person myself, I want to shout into the void and say, listen to me, here I am, hear my story. Why do you think I make YouTube videos? It is easy to feel incredibly small, and telling my story makes me feel less small. And at the same time, it's really easy to feel incredibly small at events like this. Not actually though, because I was one of the tallest people at this festival. But it also gives me the opportunity to participate in something that is bigger than myself. I get to contribute a little bit to this culture that runs so deep and this history that is so complicated. And although my part may be very small, I am making a contribution to the history that is Timor-Leste. Ate logo, guys. I'll see you next week. Before you guys close out of the video, don't forget to like and subscribe down there, right there in the doobly-doo. Make sure to keep an eye out for the new EP. I'm still in the process of working with it, but I hope that it will be out within the year. Okay, so maybe it'd be a nice Christmas present for you guys. Yeah, guys, I'll see you around.